after Yellow Pete. Big advantage for him. Top laners, very much even between the two, but that mid lane, it's the big difference. Froggen has a big lead currently over Messiah.
Messiah needed to slow down Froggen, but it just has not been the case. That Orianna pick ban play, so good for them early on. Now with the Orianna, they seem to be in control. Deathcap Rod of Aegis, he went a little different. Most guys did the Athene's Unholy Grail in Orianna, but this time Froggen's picked it up with the Rod of Aegis and has not necessarily seen a fall off. The big items now completed. Abyssal Scepter onto Snoopy. These next team fights are going to be so explosive for CLG if they can get the proper 5-on-5 engagement.
And you can see an Abyssal trying to get built up by Messiah as well. The rest of Team WE, there's a 3-man push along that top lane. Snoopy's just going to cover off this middle. We are seeing Chow Mei. Chow Mei, the man with all the kills at the moment. Yellow Pete's got to be careful he doesn't get scissored off here. They're trying to look towards it. Team WE. Yellow Pete has got to be careful. Doesn't get caught out here. As I was about to say, there comes Clear Love diving in on him. Yellow Pete's going to get taken down. He will get dropped. He got picked off. And will Team WE be able to turn something off the back of this one?
These are kind of the spins that we've seen off of these guys. It's been so many picks in the early game. Sorry, there are so many picks that CLG got on WE last time they were ahead, but this time it's just been turned around.
Absolutely. So Team WE taking advantage, pushing in towards that mid turret. They do take down the outer one. They get on towards the inhibitor. There's the Orianna ball. Chow Mei is going to take this turret down though. You can see he's just taking it from the mid one. That'll be an easy pickup. So just off the back of a single pickup, just like we saw with CLG.EU against Team WE, this time CLG get picked off. Yellow Pete caught like Clear Love was in game 2, out of position. The question is, though, will it be enough? They did pick up 2 turrets on the back of it. That is a very good turnaround of his singular kill. 7-6 currently, WE with that kill advantage now, clawing the gold back, almost reminiscent of the way CLG just drove their way back into it against Team WE. CLG this time have got to be careful. Ooh, Wicked going to walk in, put that ward down right on top of Clear Love's head. Meanwhile, as it stands, though, the big difference, we've still not seen a clear 5v5 team fight.
And with CLG wanting to get these team fights coming in very shortly, we might have a slight audio problem here. I'm not sure. Froggen wants to get those 5v5 team fights.
Yeah, as it is at the moment, it's definitely a problem here. As we see, well, look at just Wei Zhao back down that bottom lane, farming away. CLG.EU in the meantime, they have that 5-man push in the mid lane. They could drive it forward. Wei Zhao is going to push on. Wei Zhao's going to have to react to this one, otherwise CLG.EU are going to be straight on that base turret, and they're well aware of it. Instead, CLG.EU now stood on top of that ward. They're not going to be too sneaky. They're going to drive in. They've got to be careful not to be too many steps away from that turret, because Wicked will be able to engage at such a large range. We'll see when they'll be able to get in there. Probably just pulling that defense, pulling the ball back, keeping that gold range going. 204 CS now currently for Chow Mei. Big advantage compared to Wicked, 162, but Wicked is just that blunt instrument they are throwing into the fight. And it's going to continue as it is not currently available. Wei Zhao is getting poked down. You can see the ball control from Froggen still continuing.
Thanks there, team, and I'm back. Good solo casting. They have a 5-man poke coming down here. So much control out of this, and they're just trying to clear out with the oracles what they really want. Then they'll be able to push in for a team fight.
So as it stands at the moment, CLG definitely with that advantage. 7-6, 30 minutes gone in this game. 4-4 all square in turrets, just 4,000 gold separating them. CLG want to force that team fight. This is so reminiscent of the last game. This time, CLG want to force the team fight. Team WE are quite happy to sit back and farm.
From the other way from the last game, the tables have been turned. CLG.EU, though, knows how to be in this position, and they know how to take it back.
So as it is, CLG currently pushing towards the top. See the wards. The wards are getting just picked off left, right, and centre here. Wicked's just farming up. And they are going to push in this top tier. Top tier is not got enough hit points. I don't think Team WE want to fight this one. They're going to have to let this one give up. There's going to be a huge creep wave going in, and they've got to be so careful that we don't see that flash ultimate. Malphite is just off at the side there. Yeah, you can see he wanted to get in there, but They could tank this one, they could take the damage, but you can see Chow Mei now with that Guardian Angels. He's going to throw himself in this fight. He wants to really get involved in it. Yellow Pete taking a little bit unnecessary damage there, and the Janna Shield stopping any damage going on towards that turret.
The next big team fight is going to show us so much about these team strengths. Because the Frozen Heart on Wicked, they have all the team fights. They've been getting picked thus far. They can't let this get turned around on them like what World Elite could no longer finish last game. Will they try to get a Baron? They can't seem to get these turrets because in here, they're clearing out wards. The jungle is very much so. They're getting the red buff going down. Wicked still with that Oracles from earlier. This is so scary for CLG because they're in the same situation that they just turned around last game, and they can't let it happen to them.
They cannot, but currently, I don't think there's too much they can do about it. Dragon is up. They are going to back off from this one. Chow Mei is very strong, but we've seen this before. One player being the strongest on the team is not always a great thing. And Wei Xiao desperately farming away, trying to get himself back involved in this one. We saw it before, how strong he became, how much of an influencer he is. We saw how much CLG tried to focus on it, but you can see Yellow Pete now with that Bloodthirster and the Trinity Force very much just ahead in that build. Still no BF. Is he going to go for an Infinity Edge, or is that a Last Whisper? Looks like Wei Xiao's going to go for Last Whisper, I guess.
Wei Xiao actually managing to just stay in the game, and he's pulled back. If he gets that Infinity Edge, then he'd be ahead of Yellow Pete in damage. Randwin's Omen, double Randwin's Omen coming out from CLG. If they get in team fights, and it's so much about the attack speed from Aurelia and Nocturne here, CLG just has to get team fights, and it's a struggle for them to initiate, which is odd considering Wicked's unstoppable force. It's really just about them not wanting to overcommit because this is how they play normally. But WE sneaking back into it. Normally when they stall off like this, they're growing an advantage. Right now when they're stalling off, the advantage is shrinking.
I'm wondering whether Wei Xiao's going to try and pop that ultimate, try and get the steal on the Dragon. Instead, he's not. He's going to back off, and wisely so, because they could have easily initiated on him once that AD carry is down. Is it the target? Look at Chow Mei just putting himself out there. He wants to be the problem. He wants to be the target. They are a little bit split off here. And instead, they are going to back away from this one. CLG not choosing to engage that ball on CLG's Wicked's head. Immediately thinking of that ultimate combo that they could possibly use. There is so much control there. The Malphite Unstoppable Force, the pull from Froggen followed by the crescendo would really keep a team stopped in its tracks for around about 3 or 4 seconds.
And it's a little surprising that they're reluctant to force a Baron thing because the Baron would not necessarily do much damage to them. The bait would be able to get turned around, and there's not a huge amount of area of effect damage coming out from anyone on World Elite, so these team fights, if they wanted to force a beta Baron, would probably come out on top of CLG.EU, but they're waiting for WE to commit something, and Wicked walking up in ult range, but he's just not pulling the trigger. And this is a matter of CLG just waiting for the right moment. When this fight does kick off, it'll have to be explosive. They're waiting until they can catch multiple members in the same ult, and they're just really patient right now.
I wonder how much of his patience is going to go through Wicked's mind when he went a little bit too deep when the team were not ready and they got caught out, because they realized if they lose this fight, they're definitely going to lose an inhibitor or a Baron off the back of it. So they need to make sure that Unstoppable Force lands at just the right moment. And Team WE, they're keeping very split. They're very much aware of the situation. That big creep wave down the bottom is going to get taken out by Yellow Pete's ultimate there. He's going to force them back. Chow Mei in the meantime stealing away the red. That is sneaky. Sneaky play there from Wei Xiao. Getting in and around that side.
It's going to be very good for them coming up because the added Trinity Force slow on top of the red buff is strong, and they're denying Yellow Pete that. He's going in for it himself, but it's long gone. And they are really staying alive in here. We thought maybe they were going to be a bit on tilt from the last game, but they've really picked it up in the past 15 minutes or so. Just not giving up on this game. They're stalling very well. They're really, like when they won in Game 1, turning CLG.EU's playstyle around on them. Bruiser comms, good stall, avoiding initiates, and it's really just learning from CLG.EU and adapting so well, because this stall is getting more and more dangerous for CLG.
Did they just see Chow Mei go back? That's the question. CLG.EU seem to have stacked in around that Baron. They realized Chow Mei may have gone away from this one. 2 of the members, FCZF and Chow Mei, both gone. CLG have a prime time to try and force it, and they didn't. They didn't have the vision. As it is at the moment, Wei Xiao, though, continuing to farm. While this is all happening, he's just farming. He's a farming machine. Everywhere he goes, he's picking up kills. He's quite happy. He's got to be careful he doesn't show himself in this bottom lane, although CLG have all backed up so that they can't take advantage from it now.
So here we go. We have the ultimate coming down the bottom lane. just trying to clear the minions, but he's not quite able to get that.
You can see as it stands, Wicked just continuing on his farming merry way. But look how tanky they are right now. Like I say, they're double Randy and Omen. He's got the Frozen Heart. He's just going to throw himself in as a big mallet to start things off. And on the back of that, Snoopy is also very tanky. Froggen's going to have a lot of control. Yellow Pete is so mobile, so slippery, it's going to be hard to pin down. Who will they focus when it comes to the team fight? They know they're going to have CLG throwing this big brick wall of crowd control at them. And it's going to be down to Wei Zhao to try and sidestep that and get the damage down, but who will he target?
And they have to just be really careful here, because if he knew who to target, he would have used his ultimate long ago. They don't know exactly who they want to pick off. And with all of this lateness, Orianna wins team fights usually immediately with the burst, but the later they get, the more bruisey WE gets. You can see multiple giant spells coming out. The burst from Froggen is going to fall off early. They have the Guardian Angel on Yellow Pete, but as far as the Orianna initiation perspective, that ult is not going to be as devastating as we've seen in the past. If they live through that and counter-initiate onto him, Orianna doesn't have too much left after that, so it's going to be a struggle. They might be realizing the urgency of the situation here, because they're really all 5 around Baron here, trying to poke off, and there's been so much poking and prodding, and they just have not been able to pull a lead here. WE really getting tanky. CLG.EU needs to actually force something much sooner rather than later, even if it's counterintuitive to their initial playstyle.
Yes, it is. You can see clearly putting the ward straight down in Wicked's face there. Very much aware of the situation. And it is going to be very much back and forth. We see this often. You know, the patience of the situation, the pressure of the situation they must be in right now.
And there is so much pressure. Even just this game, $75,000 directly, the chance at $1 million if you lose, lost. 1-1 final game, and here we could see the final fight.
Here we go, and the Clearlove's gone very deep. I'm not sure. He's trying to bait out the ultimates, and CLG did not go for it. So the Nocturne ultimate now down. They're going to try and force Chow Mei's Guardian Angels to get dropped there. Yellow Pete very safe, and that was a Nocturne ultimate burn. They're going to be aware of the fact. Are they going to try and push this situation now? Are they going to try and drive something up that mid lane?
The Nocturnal burnt for Snoopy's Flash. Now they're trying to push right back on. They know that is such a big part of a team fighting strategy, is having that Nocturne ultimate. They're now taking the aggression. I'm surprised they're not prodding around Baron, because without that Nocturne ult, the vision would be very good for them. They pushed in and taken rates, but that really doesn't give them anything. They have to capitalize on this moment. What are they going to do here? Because now maybe they force a fight on top, but once again, Wick is just backing away. CLG.EU is not taking advantage of the situation yet. They really have to.
Look at the creep wave they got going in that top lane. They should be able to push down this turret eventually. Wicked is certainly sizing them up, whether he can get in there, and that shield is only going to be so much. So finally, that's the first turret we've had in about 15 minutes, I believe, and it is a 5-4 advantage for CLG.EU, living up to their name, grinding it out right now. They are definitely making the slow play work out for them, but this is their game. They are in their zone now. 39 minutes gone. This is where CLG come into their prime. The question is, will WE be able to match them when they finally get to that team fight?
CLG.EU is in their moment, but at the same time, it seems like WE has adapted. They are doing a very good job pulling it off here. Wei Zhao soloing the dragon. CLG.EU actually doesn't realize it. They keep jumping back forward in the jungle, but what is necessarily the point of this? They're waiting for W to do a poor initiation, but they've shown that they will not. Where is the initial fight going to come from? The Nocturne ult is not enough. Rise is not enough. It has to be a full team initiation. Malphite can create, Orianna can create, Cho'Gath can create, but CLG.EU is choosing not to. And they keep putting these pings down on Baron, but nothing is coming of it.
Very much a back and forth. Like they're trying to gank. Look, they are completely out of vision here. And is anyone going to fall for it? Are they going to try and put a ward there? Are we going to see FZZF try and get down here? Try and force a ward. Looking like all Nocturne's coming down. If we can just get a pan. Oh, Clearlove's not falling for that one.
If they wouldn't have moved after that hit, they wouldn't have realized the Dust Trail combo, but they did flinch when it happened, so he knows that in that brush he did spot CLG.EU, and it allows them to back away.
I feel that Shirelli is going to have to get used here. We can see a second Shirelli is now being built by Snoopy as well. I expect the Shirelli stacking will start soon, and CLG.EU are going to have to use that for their advantage to try and close the gap. They just caught Wei Zhao off. Wei Zhao was on the bottom lane. They're going to go for it. They're going to try and pull it for Baron here. Nocturne, of course, has got his ultimate back available, so he's going to be able to get in and try and smite it down.
We don't want to get into a steal race here. I've seen them. They have the Eaton smite, but they still don't want to risk it. They pull off into ward. Froggen was on that ward the entire time, which let them know they were trying to peel. If Froggen was inside the Baron pit, they would have thought they were doing it. But the fact that Froggen was sitting back there let WE know they weren't in it to take the entire Baron.
Good up quickly to respond. Reach out, immediately reacting. CLG.EU back to resetting. They got that wave at the bottom though that Chow Mei, look, he's going to have to deal with it. So he's going to get spotted off the side. Popping the ultimate up towards the top. Too sure what he was aiming at with that one.
Might have just been looking for vision in a lot of ways. He was trying to scout out
trying to see whether
does grant vision. They didn't actually have wards themselves on Baron, so that could have been a potential rush. We know WE had tried for a Baron in the previous game multiple times with 2 or 3 members. That's what they were worried about, and he managed to scout them out. They weren't doing it. He's just down on ultimate.
Look at this. Froggen shows himself there, and immediately Team WE reacting. They've got a 4-man pushing straight down the mid, 5-man now. They're going to try and get this inner turret down pretty quick. They're going to tank it up. It's going to be Chow Mei taking the turret hits, and they're going to be able to get in there in time. But Snoopbait is there. Manages to catch a rough drop towards Messiah there. Messiah now with the Guardian Angels of his own. So we've got 2 Guardian Angels on Team WE. We've got just the 1 currently on CLG. We shout again. Getting in, sneaking on towards that red and taking it away from CLG. He gets in there every time.
And it's getting stronger and stronger now. 353 minion kills. Triforce, Bloodthirster, Last Whisper, as well as that Negatron cloak. He did not go for the tank build this time, and it is paying off in a lot of ways. CLG.EU scared of team fighting them, it seems, because Malphite initiates could happen. He just does not want to extend himself too far out from the rest of the team. And now the damage is high enough, especially from Ryze. Malphite is so good at dealing with damage from anyone except sustained damage casters. Messiah, if Wicked comes in, Messiah's going to train wreck him. He doesn't have magic resist outside of those Mercury Treads, and they're just clearing out wards inside of this Baron pit, but they're not looking to commit. This game stretching on and on, 43 minutes now. Blue buff coming down onto Froggen. CLG.EU, we keep saying it, they are in their element, but this lead is shrinking ever so slowly. It was around 6,000 or 7,000, now it's down to 4. WE stalling CLG style in a lot of ways.
Yeah, WE reminiscent of, like I say, last game. The question is, have they got the damage when they come to a team fight to break through that tankiness that CLG.EU have got? You feel if he can just stay up on the side, but with the Guardian Angels starting to stack up across the board, the damage definitely stacking up across the board. They need to catch someone out, but the problem is CLG are moving as one big unit. One big tanky unit at that. You're seeing Wicked on your screen. Built very tanky early on. Looks like he's going to go for a Frozen Mallet now as well, just to add that extra hit points towards it. Unless he goes towards Trinity Force, it's entirely possible, but I wouldn't be surprised. Again, Messiah getting poked down by Froggen, but they just can't catch anyone off. Clearly love this time. You know, he got caught out a few times last time. He's not pulling for it again.
And we're on pace for a potentially even later game than last time, just with how much these teams are afraid of fighting each other. So many wards being expended back and forth. Wicked making a lot of gold off of that Oracles, and just look at the wards on CLG right now. They want to find a moment when WE is pickable. They're trying to litter the outside with wards, and there is one strategy. They wanted to get him over the wall, but they're just not allowing it. Continually clearing out wards from inside here. Still not fighting. Meanwhile, Weezhou in the middle lane is just farming up and up and up, and if they cannot close down on Corki, they're going to have issues in these late game team fights because he scales like a monster.
And as it stands, the farm session goes on. This is what I expect from CLG. Yellow feet, oh, nearly catching Messiah out. Doesn't want to go for the ultimate. We've not seen an ultimate used outside of the True Shot Barrage for a long, long time. CLG going to try and force the issue? No, because there's 2 wards at the back of Baron Pit.
They actually are doing a lot of damage to Baron here, but the collapse is coming down from WE almost immediately, and they back right away once again.
And collectively the crowd sighs as everybody backs away. It is going to be an epic fight when we get there, ladies and gentlemen, trust me. But it might take a while. CLG.EU, they are renowned for this. They are world renowned for this. Every team that's come up against them, you know, there's a big reason that there's only a couple of teams in the world that have beaten CLG.EU in a best of 3, in a best of 5. Honestly, they really have the late game sussed.
The strangest thing about this, though, is keep thinking that this is not what they necessarily wanted. Why would you bring such a hard initiate team if you're not going to end up forcing that hard initiate as WE gets tankier and tankier is going to be less and less effective? They really had the window, I want to think, about 20 minutes ago. And it's been so long since the last team fight, they've almost forgotten who's going to win, and it's so hard to judge. With these players' experiences, obviously CLG.EU thinks that they would have it late game anyway, because they have had the skills and the champions to initiate. They have just chosen not to. WE just waiting because they know how well CLG counter-initiates on them. That's what's happened to them in the past few games. They're not willing to engage in that same fight anymore. They're waiting for CLG.EU to actually commit on Baron, and then they fight. But as it is, this game just keeps going and going.
Going and going, and a lot of wards being bought by both teams. There's a Warmogs popping out by Aurelia. Also, Last Whisper was just picked up by Yellow Pete, that's why he went back. Double Shirelia's Reverie for CLG, so they have the speed to close down someone if they require. No Shirelia's Reverie still picked up by Team WE.
And it's just a little odd. It shows to me that they don't want to fight in a lot of ways. You sometimes just Reverie to get the initiation. Snoopy finally landing a Rupture, but they don't follow up because no one was necessarily around. And at Infinity, they just keep the same game going. How many times have wards been placed in these spots, and how many times has the Oracle's been cleared away? So many Ruptures, so much poke back and forth. The minion kills continue to climb. 416 onto Froggen. That's more than he's had yet this tournament, even though it took him quite a much longer than it did in the group stage. Now they're maybe pushing down mid, but it doesn't look like they're going to do much too aggressive.
Yeah, they're just going to push them back, turn around, and head back north. There is no ward coverage currently at Baron. Just that one in the back pit, which they're going to clear out. Okay, are they going to initiate? Are they going to start the Baron? The crowd want them to start off Baron. Have they got it in them to force the team fight?
Weezhao's back in base.
The Baron is down to half hit points, and Weezhao is a long way away. They're going to try and catch on towards Xiaomei. No, they backed away. They were in a 4v5 situation. They probably could have picked the Baron up. The Baron has not to reset yet. Now it's reset. And we're back to normal.
If only they knew Weezhao had back there, they could have finished the Baron or waited for the full commit from WE to win a team fight. But that's the cautiousness of CLG.EU. They want to make completely certain they have it. And that's the cautiousness of World Elite. They're keeping back.
CLG.EU are all about breaking records. They've already made the longest game so far at 55 minutes. I think they want to stretch that goal. I think they're aiming for 60 right now. Team WE having a little look there. We can see that Messiah is off in the bottom lane here. CLG have spotted that. Messiah and Clearlove are a long way from this fight. CLG.EU should be able to start this one off. They should pick it up. They're taking it down to half health already. Clearlove is now getting close. He's going to be able to ultimate his way in there. There goes the Rupture. The Silence is still not going to cross. They're not actually doing the damage to the Baron. They're just trying to bait the fight. They're just trying to bait the fight. They could have taken Baron, and all they're doing is baiting it. They have still not let it reset, though.
They have Feast and Smite. They would be able to spike it down, but instead they're waiting for a fight here, and again, they disengage.
Wow. The crowd cannot believe it. I cannot believe it. Everybody at home watching is actually fell asleep right now. Europe has just dropped off. They have fell off asleep. Sorry, guys. I apologize from the whole European nation that you are being drawn out, but CLG.EU once again engaging. They managed to take a couple more hit points. The Boobies headers go off, and instead, can they keep this up? They've taken Baron to half health this time. Wicked is ready for a hard engage now, and they are continuing the damage on Baron. They've taken half health off. They're cleared up, gets vision of it.
WE ran out of wards.
They're going to go for it. They backed up, and they picked up the Baron at last. The crowd goes wild. It's taken them a half hour to get that Baron. Now, what the hell are they going to do with it?
The thing with that is WE ran out of wards. They stopped being able to get vision inside of it. So much turtling, so many Oracle scares, and they finally expended it all. So we were waiting for the stall, but after all of it, they got the Baron, and now they're all shoving up mid. Will we see a big fight?
Well, all Team WE are going to have to back up here. Well, Xiaomei's running. He needs to be backing right now. Messiah's going back. They're going to get on towards this inhibitor turret before anyone of substantial damage can get here. I thought they were about to back up. Oh my god, I was about to lose my my rag. I think this is about as PC as I can make it right there. But CLG, well, they can tank up this turret if they want to. The rest of Team WE have got back. There's the Janna shield, and the poke continues. Right, they have a Baron. They have to make use of this one. Xiaomei's off the side there. He's not going to get involved in it. Here comes the creep wave. Can they push in? They got a good shred on towards FCZ there. It wasn't enough. They're going to get the poke on towards that turret. I'd like to see the turret hit points if you please, Mr. Cameraman. I want to see what is going on with that turret. Not looking at CLG. to see how far they're shredding it down. They've barely managed to hit it. They took it down just above half. And you can see there's a big creep wave on that bottom turret. Are they going to rotate around to the bottom turret? The ping goes down and CLG going to continue to pressure it. Chowmei's there. The rupture goes down. They are tanking it up. Wicked could effectively just stand there in that turret. He's got a frozen heart at Randy and Zone, and that tower's not going to do a great deal to him in the first few hits. And that's why he's going to deal with it. Wei Zhao has to find off the torrent. There is the bottom lane turret going down. The inhibitor turret just has one more hit remaining on it. CLG.EU have full use. Remember, they've still got all their ultimates available. Nothing has been expended here. Look at that yellow beat hit the damn tower, for God's sake, man. Wicked's tanking it up for you. All they need to do is
one more hit. They got
Finally,
it.
they hit it. Now they can go aggressive. The inhibitor is exposed. They're going to try and go for this one. Messiah gets caught out again. There is an enormous creep wave going on that bottom lane that CLG might rotate round to. They've got this open inhibitor. Chat, will they ever finish this damn game?
They want the inhibitor, but they are taking their sweet time with this. So cautious. They don't want to get caught out by anything despite having the Baron buff, and W does not want to overengage. They will get this inhibitor or get a team fight, but if we've learned anything from this game, it's going to be a slow inhibit. There it is!
Wei Zhao's shown himself down that bottom lane as well. He's going to be on the massive stack down the bottom. You can see Froggen coming across. He has that ball, and he's going to try and push them home. So that is one inhibitor down. If they can poke and continue on this one, they've got the Baron for another minute and a half, so 90 seconds remaining on this Baron buff. They have it in them. They can tank it up. They're going to just force them back. Team WWE can't really do anything about this. Are they going to engage? They just have to keep stepping back.
They got about half it, and this is how they siege the middle turret. If they can do it once, they can do it again. As long as they have this Baron buff, they should be able to slowly poke this one down. But instead, they actually look to be backing away.
No.
Their Baron is slow. They have the one inhib, D-Man. They should be able to get the blue buff. They're going to shop after this. They did just pick up some gold. And you're just crushing your face with your hands right now. But soon enough, we will see them push in.
Well, whoop-dee-doo, CLG back off. They do pick up the blue. I think they may follow this creep wave in. That Baron buff, though, is, what, 10 seconds? Oh, look, they're going to go shop, ladies and gentlemen. CLG.EU, what are you guys going to buy? Give them a round of applause there. CLG finally, after a half-hour stalemate, did manage to pick up that Baron and start this game rolling.
And everyone after the end of that, they were standing on